Such powerful sisters and speakers. Dr. Thompson talked about warmth and love. And I'd like to begin by thanking the sisters who have come here tonight because I'd asked them to. 30 years ago, I left secondary school and have not seen some of those old girls, some my mates, some my seniors, until tonight. My classmate from university is also here with members of her family. And I can't thank you enough for the show of solidarity. I begin this way because I'm going to tell you a little story about myself. Because listening to the sisters share their thoughts, I was like, this is international. This is the bigger picture. But the part of that whole must not be forgotten. The smaller pieces of lives that we need to connect to ensure that they enjoy the opportunities we're talking about tonight might just get excluded if we're not thinking inclusively, even as we're talking diversity. Why do I say this? I was born in northern Nigeria, of course a girl, to a Muslim family, to a mother who is not lettered. I wouldn't say not educated, because that's not the yardstick for measuring education where I come from. She can read the Quran, she can read Arabic, but she's not lettered in English. And a father who is a technician. If that father had decided not to send me to school, I wouldn't be here with you tonight. That's a fact. So the difference between me and the girl who is in somewhere in northwestern Nigeria or somewhere in a village in southern Nigeria is, on the surface, education, but that's not just the whole picture. The difference between me and her is actually access to opportunity. A lot of the time we talk about the importance of education, especially when you're looking at Africa, in this context, Nigeria. And it's very correct, education is very important. But we are also beginning to learn lessons through engaging with women, through working with communities, that as important as education is, it is no longer enough. What can and will change the lives of women, and starting from that life circle of girlhood, is access to strategic interventions at the right time. So education is important. Health is also important. And security is no less important. And I'll tell you why as I proceed. Education remains the key nonetheless. Why is this so? If a girl is not allowed to stay in school till, say, she's 16 or 17, she'll be having her first child by that age. And as soon as she does that, that shuts the doors of opportunity. Because then she becomes a child nurturing another child. And then all the other circles of, patriarchy then takes over easily. If she stays in school, therefore, fertility is delayed. If fertility is delayed, we have a whole lot less maternal mortality. Because in my country, over 1,500 women die out of every 100,000 during childbirth. I use that figure because that is the figure in northeastern Nigeria. If you looked at the average, it gives you around 500. But then averages have a way of masking reality. And so it's very important that you understand the different dynamics because we're talking about lives and not statistics. Now, some of the lessons we have learned is that we have to engage. That's absolutely correct, like Lisha said. It's important that we continue to engage with government because sometimes they just don't know what's to be done. And voice is critical. Listening to my sister Bola, I couldn't agree more that voice is critical. Because in 2005, I was in Abuja, like my sister Shaya said, and the budget was presented. The budget for the education of the entire children of Federal Capital Territory. And the School for Girls had money for home economics laboratory. And the School for Boys had money for computer labs. And then we said, why is this the case? And the man said, oh, but it's gender. This is what you want, so we're giving you what you want. And we say, no, brother, you've done very well, but you can do better. Let's have the home economics lab in the girls' school. That's fine. Let's have it in the boys' school as well. And as you have the computer labs in the boys' school, let's have it in the girls' school. I said, oh, is that what you mean by gender? I said, yes, it's something like that. So voice and engagement will remain very important. We would also need to remember that the teachers themselves need to be taught. It's not so much staying in school, which is important, because only 4% of girls will finish secondary school in northern Nigeria, but it's also the content of what they are learning. and the kind of interactions that can happen between girls and boys. Because if we're focused on nurturing a more critical generation of girls, what about the boys that become men tomorrow whom they're going to get shackled up with? It's important, therefore, to look at the equation as two sides, as it were, and to pay attention to what becomes of girls as well as what becomes of boys. We're learning too that faith-based organizations are very important. They are male-centric organizations.